First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakal Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who are teachers of truth and sincerity. And shout out to Yakim that's out there on the four corners of the earth. Going into places, such as, Great Millstone Hawaii camp, quite simply put, or Great Millstone in Houston, during these bigger events, which we can see, though, that over the weekend, of course, the GMS Hawaii camp is obviously not on that particular island, but it's still in the Hawaii area nonetheless, though. So, most likely, well, you would think, though, that people would be flocking to them in the day of this because, we're seeing it. Earthquakes in diverse places, wars, rumors of wars, famines and pestilence. It's all around. Behind me is what used to be known as the Sunset Plaza, which was the last stop you would make here on your way to Old Shasta and up into the mountains to go to either Whiskey Town or to go to the coast. This would be your last stop, or it'd be your first stop coming back. But this is now no longer, pretty much it's been closed, and we already know about Sears and Kmart out of business, Radio Shack and many others, McMahon's Furniture, Montgomery Ward, Circuit City, on a downward spiral. And now 500 more stores closed down of the subway, but also, just downsides. Your town may only have one left of that. This place used to have like 4 or 5 holidays, but now it's just reduced to, I believe, 2 now. So that's a big time downsides. There's the holiday down the road here, and then there's one more on the other side of town over on Victor. So yeah, this Sunset Plaza closed some time ago, obviously. I just didn't discover that until more recently when I tried to look for the recycling center. So things are taking place. We know that the tariffs are about to hit, and we know that not only did Hawaii see volcanic activity, but also France. And isn't that interesting, though, that both of those places are places that just struck Syria recently, So judgment is befalling Edom, the places of Edom, because they were both Edomite places. So we're seeing it right there. So I can't think of any better scriptures than the ones that Yahushua spoke. So I'm going to read out of Matthew chapter 24, starting in verse 3. And as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered, said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. There's a lot of deceptors out here, if you will, Decepticons, Pastor Dowell, a whole bunch of them telling you that Esau's not the so-called white man, when we know that he is. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am a Mashiach, and shall deceive many. You shall hear wars, rumors of wars, and see ye not be troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And so end hasn't happened yet, because we're going to be going through Jacob's trouble. And part of Jacob's trouble, of course, is the mark of the beast, the push for that. And we can see people willingly getting the mark of the beast. It was just on RT. This other person thought that he'd stop hackers, so he got himself a microchip. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There's wars everywhere. And there shall be famine and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. And we saw that over the weekend, both Hawaii and France. All these are the beginning of sorrows. They shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Yeah, we are hated more than anyone else, because we're the ones that are prophesying the downfall of this place, and Esau doesn't want to lose this place, but he is losing his grip. Stretched Christianity has been disproved on so many levels. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and deceive many. You got ISUPK, IUIC. They were in the truth. They came from One West, but now they're teaching another gospel. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that's what happened. They waxed cold. Now they're teaching another doctrine. They're not teaching that the mark of the beast is the RFID implant. They're teaching you that it was just Christianity. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So you know as well as I do that you have to endure this thing to the very end, no matter how hard it is, you know. And the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached unto all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then the end shall come. That's what we're doing here right now. We're prophesying the end to come, and we're seeing judgment befall all these wicked nations, you know, because the Most High have spoken these things, you know, a long time ago, and like I said before, you know, we're just here rehearsing scripts, you know. The prophets of old are coming out and prophesying the downfall of this place, because that's what we did before when Jerusalem was about to fall, you know, when we fell as a nation and we had to flee because the abomination of desolation had taken place when they had brought pork into the temple, you know, and they started eating defiled things and then started worshiping other gods. That was the abomination of desolation. So we fled into the Sahara deserts. That's the mountains that we're told to flee into. So Jerusalem's captured in 70 AD. And we have not returned since then, you know. And you got those Amalekites pretending that they are Jews. But, you know, the rest of the world, well, they believe all that because, of course, they were part of the deception, you know. Psalms 83, you know, all those nations, including Syria, had conspired that we would go into slavery and we would no longer remember that we were Israelites, you know. This is the only captivity that we served where we didn't know that we was Israelites. But now, the Most High has raised up his prophets to tell everybody, blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and the confusion that face to be amongst us are the real Israelites, you know. And it's time to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, because he's getting ready to judge all the nations. All these nations are gathered into the valley of Yehoshaphat. You know, that's why they can't leave Iraq, Iran, or Syria alone, or Yemen, or any of them places. You know, the 7 nations that America was going to invade, you know, when they did the false flag of 9/11, that they would invade all 7 of them countries. And we can see that all 7 of them countries have befallen, you know, leaving Iran for the last, you know. And so all these other countries have been attacked, but they're about to attack Iran, you know, about to call for regime change in Iraq, Syria, and Iran. And, you know, Donald Trump's going to try to sell the war, because that's what he was here to do, you know, is to further the war, to sell the war, you know. And, of course, we know the drafts are going to be coming out, you know, and, you know, the funny thing is, though, is that at the same time, though, you know, they've been using their weather machine, their HARP. You know, that's what brought the judgments of Houston. You know, when Houston was hit with that hurricane, we know that it was the weather machine. They show you this shit in the other sci-fi shows, like $6 Million Man, Bionic Woman, that, you know, they were showing you HARP. They show you this stuff in pre-programming, you know. And so when you see it, the reason why they do that, it's a Hegelian dialect, you know, so that way, oh, well, you just watch too many shows, you know, so they just put the truth right out there in the open, but, you know, they'll just tell you you saw too many shows. It's all part of the mindfuck, the witchcraft. And we know that Christianity has been witchcraft amongst our people because, of course, you have the false image, Cesare Borgia, and then you have pretty much what they've done is catfished us with a fake image, you know, because that's not the true image of the Most High, and yet have changed his name to a Greek name. He didn't speak Greek, he spoke Hebrew. And I know that the argument's to say, well, you know, Paul the Apostle, yes, he spoke in Greek, but he also spoke in Hebrew. That's what speaking in tongues is. He knew more than just one tongue, because obviously he had traveled to all these places, so he knew how to speak in their tongue, you know. And so, you know, you got these other false prophets out there, you know, going and saying, though, that not all Edomites are going to be destroyed, you know, that, you know, if you're basically good, you can become spiritual Israel. This is all deception. You know, many false prophets will come saying that I am Hamashiach, which basically means that I have this truth, you know. They claim to have this truth, but they really fell out of this truth. They became reprobates, you know, because being a reprobate is when you get turned over to that mindset is because you've gone off on the philosophies to where it's gotten to a point that the Most High has spewed you out. That's what we don't want to be, is spewed out, you know. So use this time while you can to go out and proclaim this truth. As more places keep getting shut down, you know, eventually, you know, we know that the economic crash is coming, and that they're going to deliver many people up to be killed, you know, just for refusing that mark, or just simply because you speak the truth, you know, that there's truth in this, you know, so you'll know who spoke the truth and who was a liar. So I hope this has all been edifying. Like everything else, though, man, you know, this is the exciting times. Seeing the judgments befall America. Seeing the judgments befall Esau, Edom. Shalom.